Black Tusk are going after the Shade node. If they get to it, just get in there and stop them. Check the logs to see if they accessed any sensitive data. But I think we're okay.
Hey, what is up everyone? The LDB is back at it again, coming at you today on Black Friday with my Black Friday build. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving as I did. It's always good to see some family. And now for Black Friday. If you're out there stuck in a line somewhere, maybe this will give you an idea for something you want to put together once you get home. The survivability on this build is amazing. I've been loving it, and the per bullet weapon damage that we are getting from this weapon, the Black Friday, is rivaled to no other LMG, and I will show you that in just a little bit. So hopefully you enjoy or find this video helpful. If you do me a huge favor and go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe for future content if you are new to the channel, and feel free to drop a comment down there below. So let's get into this. Alright everyone, so here we go. First things first, I'm going to be using the Gunner Specialist for a handful of reasons, and I will go through them very quickly so we can get on to the good stuff. Now, we have this talent right here. Killing enemies grants 10% armor, and when you pair that with a two-piece Badger, as I did, you get that 25% armor on a kill. You gotta love that right there. Now, also, we get the talent supply line. Generate 10% of total ammo capacity every 60 seconds. Party members recover 5%, so you help out the party as well as yourself. You don't have to hit every single resupply box or anything like that, as well as on longer missions like the raid. This can definitely help you out a lot, so definitely try that out. Now we also have Barrage here. Rate of fire increased by 5% on a kill for 5 seconds, so get a little bit of an RPM buff up. That's really nice on an LMG, as well as emplacement. This is key to the build right here because unhinged, obviously you're going to be taking a big hit on your weapon handling, and emplacement will fix that for you more or less. 20% weapon handling while not moving, need to be motionless for 1 second, either in cover or just standing there. Take your finger off of the left joystick, or at least if you're on console, and just stand still and just start aiming and firing. You will be getting that 20% weapon handling up, and it helps out a lot. As well as the cherry on top, we got the large pouch over here giving us that plus 50 rounds. So that's about it for the gunner tree. Let's go on to the build itself. Alright everyone, and here it is. As you can see, we have 10 reds, 12 blue, and 1 yellow. That's right, we have a whopping 52 skill power on this build, but honestly, that one little yellow mod does help us out a little bit. Now, we have some pretty good armor at 400,000, just broke 400k, and we have 62,000 health. Now, with the perfect unbreakable chest piece that I have on, that armor basically, once it gets stripped down to 0, it goes back to 100%, right? So essentially you have 800,000 hit points of armor alone, not including your health, before you get downed, right? And we do have the reviver hive as well, so essentially you have 3 lives before you're down and out. So if you are struggling with survivability, anything like that, definitely check out that chest piece. But other than that, let's get on to these weapons. Alright, so my primary weapon that I'm going to be using is one of the named LMGs. It is the Black Friday. I absolutely love this weapon right here. If you're looking to acquire one of these, you need to go into the Dark Zone. It is a DZ exclusive from what I understand, and go in there. While the target loot is LMGs, you should be able to get one fairly easily, except extracting might be a little bit difficult. That's when I ran into some high resistance. Everybody's trying to steal their stuff, trying to get one of these apparently, and you know, it is what it is, so if you can, bring a friend. Now this one right here is hitting for 33.2k per bullet base damage, and that could be a little bit, well, actually a lot a bit higher if I had some better weapon damage on my backpack, so that could be higher, guys, that could be higher. The RPM is 550, and we have 150 in the mag. But what makes this weapon a little bit special is that it has perfectly unhinged on it here. Receive plus 25% weapon damage at the cost of minus 25% weapon handling. And that's why I was talking about on the gunner tree, that one talent that gives you plus 20% weapon handling. And so therefore you'd be left with minus 5%. And if you have a sidearm that has overlap on it, while holstered, gain plus 5% weapon handling. Well, there you go. You pretty much just negated that minus 25%, and you can put some nice damage downrange fairly easily. And this one here came with accurate. Gotta love that. I mean, keep that a little bit more stable there, a little bit more accurate. And we have cannon. While equipped, this weapon increases throwing distance by 10%. Now, I was going to put like stop, drop, and roll or something like that on here, but actually, this has actually been coming in handy for me. If you run into a mission and you don't spook the enemies, go ahead and throw a concussion grenade in their lap, and that's going to proc spark for you. Then you can just run right in and just mow them on down. Gotta love that right there. Now, as far as the mods go, I have the optic that's giving me 8% damage to elites, the large pouch ammunition belt there, plus 50 rounds, gotta love that. We have an angled grip giving me plus 10% stability because, hey, you know, I mean, minus 5% crit chance on this, not really gonna hurt me. You could go with that if you wanted, but you know, the stability definitely helps out. If you're not landing those bullets, you're not doing the damage, right? And we have the muzzle down here just giving me that plus 5% damage to elites. So that is the primary. Okay, so really quick, I just wanted to show you the difference between this weapon right here and other LMGs. This one right here is hitting for 33.2k per bullet. If we take a look at my old LMG that I used to use, we're talking 32.2. So literally 1,000 per bullet higher. I know it's not all that much, but this weapon actually took me a while to get up to that point. Now, other than that, any other regular LMG, this one here is 28.4, 26.6. Even this named whatever the hell it is, I don't even know how to say whatever that is. We're sitting 27. So regardless, I have not found another LMG that hits harder than this one. And for my secondary, it is the Merciless. You can use this in a couple different ways with this build. If you need to proc spark from, say, a distance, something like that, you can always pull this out, land one shot. As long as it explodes on the target, you will get spark to proc, and therefore you can just kind of run forward and take them out as needed. Or you can just use the holstered talent for it. While holstered, landing a shot has 5% chance to deal 100% damage as explosive damage. Now it's only 5%, but when you have 150 in the mag, it's gonna happen sooner than later, right? So more or less, that's the only reason I've been using this weapon. And again, my sidearm, the only reason I'm using it is because of overlap, getting that extra plus 5% weapon handling. So let's get on to these gear pieces. Alright, so let's do this. The mask that I'm going to be using is Badger Tough. I have the 2-piece active, giving me that plus 7% damage to elites and that plus 15% armor on a kill. And remember, we have that plus 10% armor on a kill coming from the gunner tree, bringing us to a grand total of 25% armor every time you put someone down. 25% of 400,000 armor is 100,000 armor every time you take down an enemy. That should say it all right there. I mean, that it is what it is. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, as far as the attributes go, we have health on a kill, and some nice damage to elites. Nothing too crazy, 47%. And for the chest piece, I am going with the Badger Tough named chest piece, the 0Fs. Gotta love this one right here. We have some decent attributes on here. 23,000 armor, 8% total armor, and 13.5% weapon damage. Now, I opted for that weapon damage over like a bigger total armor percent or anything like that because, well, I think 400,000 armor is pretty decent, as well as we get it back every minute, right? Perfectly unbreakable. 100% of max armor is repaired when your armor is depleted. Armor kits used within the next 7 seconds, not consumed, can occur once every 60 seconds, once a minute. And you need 11 or more blues. I have 12, so I guess I'm just playing it safe. But regardless, you have some decent armor already. I figured go for that weapon damage, right? Now, as far as the mods go, I have an offensive giving me 1.5 weapon damage and 4% LMG damage. And we have a defensive mod giving me some armor, total armor, and armor on a kill. So, pretty straightforward there. Alright, so for my holster, I'm going with Gila Guard. I have the 3-piece active giving me that plus 5% total armor, that plus 20% hazard protection, which is always nice, and plus 15% pulse skill power. So if you're into the pulse, go ahead and try it out with this build. I'm sure it would not hurt. Now, as far as the attributes go, I have some health and a nice crit chance roll. I figured, hey, you can't put weapon damage on here, so go for the next best thing, right? Now, as far as the mods go, I have 2 mods. One gives me 1% weapon damage and 5% LMG damage. The other gives me 1% weapon damage and 4% LMG damage. Now, I bring this up because typically I would put Devastating for my holster talent and putting the damage to elites on my gloves. But if you go ahead and take a look at these mods here, we're going to be getting 2% weapon damage up and 9% LMG damage up, which is much more than what you're going to get if you just go ahead and use, per se, Devastating, which is only 5% weapon damage. You see where I'm going with that? Hopefully you're catching on. So, other than that, moving on to the knee pads. Alright, so for the knees, I am also going with Gila Guard. We have that plus 12% armor roll on there, gotta love that, as well as Patience. After being in cover for 5 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second. So we're getting our armor back all these different ways. You jump into cover for 5 seconds, you get your armor back. You put down an enemy, you get your armor back. And with Perfectly Unbreakable, if your armor is depleted, it comes back to 100%. And that can happen once a minute. And we have 400,000 armor. So, hey, gotta love that there. Now, these knee pads are awesome as well because they have another 2 blue mods on here. Gotta love that. Gotta get them blues up. This one has 3,000 armor, got 1.5 health, and 4.5% total armor. And the other mod has 5,000 armor, 3% explosive resistance, because, hey, you need that nowadays, as well as 3.5% total armor. So, on to the next. Alright, so for the gloves, I am going with Petrov. I get that plus 10% LMG damage from using them. And also we have a nice attribute of plus 12% LMG damage on there as well. We have some health and a little bit of shotgun damage. Nothing too crazy. Don't really need that at all. I wish that health was a little bit better. But overall, just focusing on that damage. And we also have hard hitting on here. Plus 25% damage to elites. So, pretty straightforward for the gloves. Alright, and for the last piece here, the backpack, it is also Gila Guard. I have a nice roll of 18.5% total armor. I know that could be higher, but hey, 18.5 is still pretty good, right? Now, as far as the weapon damage goes, we only have 3.5% on here. That's what I was talking about earlier, guys, and how that per bullet damage on the primary could definitely go up, except Gila just does not want to give up a backpack that has Spark and Hardened on it, that has, you know, some nice armor and some nice weapon damage, so I could reroll either one. But regardless, this has been working out very nice. We have Spark on here. Damaging enemies with skills or explosives grants 15% weapon damage for 15 seconds. So again, throw a grenade at them. You can use your secondary, the Merciless, just pop them one time, or just use the holster talent for your secondary and wait for your primary to spit out one of those explosive bullets. Pretty straightforward on that. And then Hardened, again, 15% armor. Can't go wrong with that. Now, as far as the mods go on this, we have the utility mod that gives me just that 52 skill power. Woo boy! We got 2.25 XP weak point kills, and if you watched me before, you know I like focusing on those weak points. It's definitely the way to go. If you don't, try to hit them weak points. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. And we also have 4.5% explosives damage. So on top of you know, everything that we're getting, we're going to put another 4.5% on there. And as far as the defensive mod, we get some armor, health regen, and a little bit of total armor. So that is the backpack. Now let's go on to the stat sheet. Alright everyone, so before we go ahead and sign off, let's just do a quick little recap here on the stat sheet and see how everything stacks up. Now as far as the weapon talents go, we have Perfectly Unhinged, gotta love that. We have Accurate, we have Cannon, we also have Brutality, and Overlap. I've been running with those, and overall it has been going great. Now as far as the weapon stats go, we're sitting at 33.1k per bullet, but that is a 5 after that, so I guess it did round up earlier to 33.2, but regardless, we're doing some pretty good damage. Now as far as the crit chance, we're sitting at 21.5%. We could have that a little bit higher if I was to put that laser pointer on the underbarrel, but again, I went with the stability. Now as far as the crit damage, 25%, 65 headshot damage, and 35 range. Look at that. That's not too bad right there. Our reload time sucks. 5.5 seconds. That is not good. That is not good at all. Our accuracy is 15%, and we have 10% stability as well. So that's going to definitely help us land some shots. Now, as far as offensive, you can see there, minus 20% weapon handling. Ooh, that's not too good right there. But we have 45.5% all weapon damage bonus and 50% LMG damage bonus. So we're talking about 95.5% weapon damage. That's pretty good, I'd say. I'd have to say that's pretty nice. Not too bad at all. And we also have 92% damage to elite. So anybody with a yellow bar is definitely getting whacked. I'll tell you that right now. I ran this through the raid the other day. We ran it, I think, 3 or 4 times. And I think I only went down once. Very, very effective. The weapon damage coming out of here is amazing, and the survivability is just as good. We have a little bit of explosive damage down here. Ooh, 4.5%. Look at that. Now, as far as the gear talents go, we have Spark, Hardened, Perfectly Unbreakable, Hard Hitting, and Patience. Right there, that equals damage and survivability in my book. Gotta love that there. And the brand sets, we have Badger Tough, 2-piece going, 3-piece Gila, and 1-piece Petrov. So nothing too hard to go out and get overall. Now, as far as the defense goes, as you can see, we have 400,000 armor. Gotta love that. We get 102,000 armor on a kill. 102,000 armor every time you put someone down. So you should be able to keep that armor up pretty easily, especially if you're sticking to cover, using Patience, so on and so forth. This is definitely going to help you out a lot. Now, my max health, 62,000. We have that health on a kill right there. Just a little tiny bit, 2,900. Nothing too crazy, but hey, every little bit counts, right? 32,000 health regen. We have a little bit of explosive resistance, 50% pulse resistance, 20% hazard protection, which means we have 20% all the way down the board here, and you gotta love that right there. Now, again, I am going with the Reviver Hive there, and I am also going with the Chem Launcher. So, overall, that is the build, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, took something away from it. I've been having a blast with it, and I hope you give it a try. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my Black Friday build for your Black Friday. If you are an LMG guy or gal, make sure you run over to the DZ if you see the LMG as the target loot and snag one of these 100%. It's definitely an amazing weapon, and if you can stack some armor on top of it, you will be crushing it. So as always, if you enjoy or find these videos helpful, do me a huge favor, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe for future content if you are new to the channel, and go ahead and feel free to drop a comment down there below. So until next time, guys, I hope you take it easy. I will see you then. Later.